You feel that way because you don't deserve to be in the room and you know it, and it's time to leave, man. Is that what y'all laughing at? How old are y'all?
No.
You have kids over here.
Hello, Mr. Waller. As a teenager, should I focus more on making money or developing myself as a man?
Develop yourself as a man, money will come. Money and women are a byproduct of developing yourself. So you're working on your fitness, you're educating yourself, you're building competencies, and the next thing you know, those competencies lead to money. And money and fitness lead to women getting in front of you because you've gotten their attention. So you absorb women, you don't chase them. You make money through skill sets, and you acquire those skill sets, and then you find ways to make money, and then money comes to you. People talk about the law of attraction. I think the law of attraction, how it's presented, is bullshit, but I do think that if you create abundance in your life in all these areas, acquiring money or the things that you want is much easier, and it can create a vacuum that comes towards you. Your mind knows whether you're ready for something like money or not, because it knows whether you've done the work or not. It knows whether you can get that girl or not. It knows whether you're ready for a promotion or taking the next step or owning your own business or doing something that's bigger than you or bigger than what you have done. So as I don't believe in the law of attraction, I do believe your mind knows when it's time based off the work that you've done. And that's why I always tell you guys that if you're scared of doing something that you want to do, then you need to go look in the mirror and find out why. That way you can go acquire the skill set needed for your mind to tell you it's time to move forward. Go work on yourself, and those things will naturally just come to you as you're working on you and you're working in the direction of the places you want to be.
My dad is a successful real estate investor, and I go to his meetings when I have a chance so I can be around rich people and learn things, but I always feel out of place. How can I lose that anxiety of being around rich people?
You probably feel that way because you probably don't deserve to be in the room and you know it. Just take your place in the room. Have some humility. If they're in the hallway before the meeting, tell the investors like, hey, I really appreciate y'all letting me come in here and sit in on my dad's meetings with you guys because I'm really trying to learn about these things. You feel out of place because you know those guys deserve to be in the room and maybe you don't. And that's completely okay. All you have to do is hat in hand, say it, and then ask questions, man, and just start to see what you can learn from your dad. If I were you and I was sitting in those meetings, I would literally go in there with a pen and a piece of paper and I would write down every term that I heard that I did not know the definition to. It's one of the fastest ways to learn, man. You'll go in there, you'll hear 10 to 15 words that you have no fucking clue what they are. If you ride home with your father after writing down those words and you go through each one of those terms that you hear, you will have an understanding of real estate or whatever said subject is so much further than if you'd have sat in there for 2 years, because you'll start to be able to put the pieces together and understand why your dad says, no, it won't work because the net operating income is this and the cap rate is this. And we want to do it IO for 7 years. And you like write down all those terms that you don't know. And at the end of it, you can realize net operating income is just profit from the property. Cap rate, it's the capital return on the property. IO, interest only, to hold the loan until it's time to refinance when we get better rates. So it's like those types of things, man. You want to get down to the terms you don't know. That way you can come to your dad and be like, Dad, what does this mean? What does this mean? Why did this guy say this? Why did he not want to do it this way? Oh, because it was because of this and this and this. So it's two things really. It's make it known you understand where you are in the pecking order and that you appreciate to be in the room, because I think you're very, very lucky to have a father that is even in that position. That's very rare, in a position where he lets you come in there. I'd make those meetings a lot more often, by the way, not just when you can't make them. And then number two, man, just write down the words that you don't understand and work through that with your dad. He'd probably love nothing more than to teach you those things. And he'll really appreciate you taking the initiative to write them down. I hope that helps, man. You're in a great position. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Good luck.
Hey, Justin, I'm planning to join the real world. Does it matter if I'm 30 years old? I heard there are a lot of young guys in there.
A lot of guys making a bunch of fucking money. Yeah, bro, I don't think it's too late at all, my friend. Money doesn't give a fuck about age or gender or race or creed or nothing. If you're valuable, you're valuable. I don't think your age has anything to do with it. I think 30 years old is a great time. There's guys in there older than you making money. There's also 14-year-olds in there making 10 grand a month. If I were you, man, I'd just get in there immediately. One thing I will tell you, yeah, you're 30 years old, but the real world hadn't been out that long. So just like me, I didn't have these kind of things available to me. So I chose what I knew, and that was construction. You have an opportunity to join the best school in the world, and the best part is you don't get a report card, you get a fucking check.
He's 14 years old and has made $1,500. He's making that every single month. Literally a 14-year-old is making more than you, bro. And it's not because he's some super genius. It's not because he got lucky. It's because he's stuck to the steps laid out. He used the resources at his fingertips from his phone within the real world. If I was making that kind of money whenever I was your age, oh my gosh, I would be so much further along what is possible at such a young age if you just stay focused, stick to the process, you take action, and the money money bags flow.
I'd absolutely join the real world at 30. Absolutely, join the real world. All you're gonna do is run into a bunch of guys that are on a mission to make money, taught by professors that are actually businessmen doing exactly what they're teaching in real time every day with other guys that are doing the same. There's not a better school in the world, and that includes Stanford, Harvard, all this other bullshit. Because why are you gonna wanna pay somebody tens of thousands of dollars to teach you about something they don't even fucking do? Yeah, man, the real world's the best school in the world. You should join it. I don't care how old you are.
Hey Justin, I'm 14, working on self-improvement and want to start making money. I thought about getting a job this summer and use it to fund a side hustle. I'm also working out and biohacking. Any tips?
You're biohacking at 14 years old, bro? If you're biohacking, use a doctor. If you're gonna make money, I would consider joining the real world. It's only $50 a month. You can cut a couple lawns and make that. I think paying attention to what game you're gonna play, what business you're gonna start is really important. If I had it all to do again, I would have spent a substantial amount of more time figuring out what business to actually start. I think that would have been astronomically helpful to me in my adolescent years, like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I advise you to spend a good bit of time figuring out what business model to go into, because as I said before, you could take two entrepreneurs, both with equal talent, skill set, drive, the whole thing, and you put the first entrepreneur in business one and put the second entrepreneur in business two, and based off the business model alone, one of those guys could go bankrupt and one of them could go to the moon. I would do a lot of research on what business you want to go into, what business is going to create the kind of leverage and kind of capabilities to take you to where you want to go. And then I would make my decision based off that. And a good way to do that is to find somebody else in the same industry and look at their life that's ahead of you. Watch out with that biohacking shit. You're literally a teenager. So
It's a Spider-Man or something.
yeah, like what the fuck are you taking at 14 years old, bro? Flintstone vitamins? Yeah, Flintstone gummies? What do you mean you're biohacking, G? Like, I feel responsible. The second you tell me, hey, Justin, I'm 14, my ears are like, what? Like, you have parents.
Hey Justin, I remember you said on a podcast that environment is key. Can you elaborate on this? I'm living at home and sometimes I tend to get lazy.
I think it's really important to understand how environment affects you. For example, when I lived back in Louisiana, I tried to control my environment, especially in my 20s. I spent a lot of time alone. I often would only have pre-cooked food in the house. I would take long rides with people I aspired to be like. I'd listen to YouTubers and people teaching things. I'd listen to books. So I controlled my atmosphere that way at home. When I got to a certain point in Louisiana, I felt like I had done everything I really had wanted to do. I don't want to say that I couldn't have grown anymore. I think you can always grow wherever you are. But I needed to be in the atmosphere that excited me. And I feel like Miami is probably the most alive city right now in regards to opportunity, in regards to kind of the spirit that the city has, the atmosphere, how it inspires me, how it makes me want to move and work harder and do all those things. There's the atmosphere that you can have when you're at home and you can't move yet. And once you build yourself to a certain place, I think it's important to visit places, feel the energy of different cities and see how they move you and make you feel inside. Because if you can get to a place that inspires you in a different way, it can be very, very powerful, especially if all your bad habits are at home, all your relationships that get you in bad situations are at home. Going to a new place sometimes can really, really help you break out of things that you wouldn't have been able to do it elsewhere with either influence or just your willpower alone. Being in a new atmosphere can break a lot of bad things or in your life. You can get around them and it can inspire you in completely different ways and give you a whole lot more consciousness on what's out there and actually available to you to achieve and grow through.
Hi Justin, I have a creative agency and I'm doing e-commerce as well. What should I focus on in terms of reprogramming my mind for success?
I don't know what's wrong with your mind in the first place, my friend. It sounds like you've started a business. If there's something you don't like about your mind, you need to just step back and think about the thought cycles that happen. Sometimes if I create a bad habit I don't like, I'll back into like what made me do the habit. What was I thinking about when I just emotionally did something or I just naturally did something without thinking? I would reverse engineer the thoughts that are going through your head or the position you're in that makes you do said action and see if you can change the environment or thought process of that, because it's probably very patternistic. You probably, and like we all do, we're very habitual. Identify that part and manage your 24 hours better, man. Change something about it, put something in that spikes you, make something slap you in the face, set an alarm, whatever that is, write something on your mirror. See if you can break up that pattern for yourself. And from there, if you can't do it, then I always default to atmosphere. Change your atmosphere for a week. See if you can break the habit. Work out every day while you take a vacation. I've even done as much as felt like I was in a bad rhythm drinking, and I'll just go in my ops manager's office or look at my daily report and say, okay, what job have I not visited lately? And I'll fuck off to some flyover state and stay in a micro hotel, and I'll make sure the hotel is not nice. And I'm just there in my thoughts, eating rotisserie chicken and work boots at the end of the day. But I've worked out, I've seen some of my guys, visited a customer or whatever, but I'm in a completely different place. For me, it's going from like Miami to a boring place is helpful. But for you, it might be going from a boring place to a place that excites you and motivates you, and you come back with a new breath of excitement about what you're doing and what's possible for you. If you can't break the pattern, then I would break the atmosphere and then just go from there.
I'm 28, soon 29, and have made a lot of poor choices. I'm in about $18,000 of debt. I wasted the last 3 years despite having a business opportunity in front of me the entire time. Feel shackled by my habits and impulses. Is it too late?
No, it's not too late. I might would get out of my hometown. I might go somewhere that excited me a little bit, something I could get fired up about. You got to let it go. You got to put it behind you. You can't live in it. You could hate yourself for it, and that's good and everything, but I don't think it's going to be helpful. Get mad at yourself, whatever, over with. Now move on to the next thing. What you should look at, first of all, 18 grand is not a lot of money. I mean, you could flip a house and make that money, or start a good business and make that a month. So I don't even really think you're in that bad of a position, my friend. 18 grand, that's not a huge hole. Why don't you just go find something you can get fired up about and make the money back real quick, man? I mean, you can make 18 grand on a lick, just on a deal. Find something you can get excited about. Start to visualize a man you want to become, and really, really start to see that vision of who you are in your head, where he is, the clothes he's wearing, how people treat him, everything, and just make that person you, bro. Get excited about something and go make it happen. But living in the past and what you fucked up or what you didn't do right, there's plenty of shit I fucked up in my life. I don't even focus on that. I focus on the man I want to become. Do that and you'll be fine.
I'm 33 and I started to work out and try to change my life. My goal is to get below 300 pounds, then beyond. I'm very lost at the moment on what to do with my life and to make money. Have any advice, and is it too late for me?
No, man, it's absolutely not too late for you. You're doing everything right now because you're taking responsibility for it. 33, man, I'd go check my hormones. I'd do some blood work, and then I'd just start off slow, man, and just create an atmosphere at home where you're set up to win. I create an atmosphere around my friends and family. So if you're in a house that's gonna have a lot of sugar, carbs, all the stuff you know you shouldn't be eating, you need to get the fuck away from it, man. I will tell you this, if your situation does not allow for you to be successful, the wrong stuff is around you, the wrong people is around you, particularly around your health, then it's time to leave, man. You gotta get out of there, get in a space where you can focus on your goals, you can see your vision, you control your atmosphere, and especially in regards to what's in the kitchen around losing weight. And definitely, like I said again, go look at your hormones and your blood work, man. Make sure everything is running correctly, because a lot of times people can get themselves in a position where their body is no longer working correctly because they're too big, their hormones are not functioning the right way. That can be very discouraging because they're doing the work but not getting the result. In your case, over 300 pounds, I would check that. Then I pay a lot of attention to the atmosphere that you're in, and then create that vision of the life that you're gonna have after the fact. Make sure you can see that clearly and very vividly, because that's what'll be the most important thing that you need to connect to when you're making a decision to go to the gym every day. Create that vision, make that atmosphere, do that blood work, make sure everything's running properly, and you'll do just fine, man. I'm proud of you. Please keep me updated on that, man. I'd love to see you win.
Justin, I'm 21. I have very successful mentors. I have a good group of running mates and in the real world. I fear self-sabotage.
Any advice before 30? You're killing it.
I fear self-sabotage. Life has been this good and it scares me. How do you deal with it?
Yeah, man, I get that. So what you're gonna have to do is create more consciousness. The weird thing about the two voices in your head is there's the bitch voice and then there's a voice that kind of tortures you. A voice that tortures you is always pushing you to do more. And as much as that voice tortures me, my biggest fear is losing it. Because if you lose that voice that pushes you to keep going and keep going, you stop growing, and growing is where all the happiness is. So I think that you're probably just going through that, and the only solution is to find more consciousness. When you're in a position where you feel like you're doing really, really well, but you have that nagging inside of you that you're scared you're gonna get complacent, then you must go find more consciousness. And getting in groups and like ruthlessly going out there and trying to find other people that know things that you don't and understand things that you don't is a super huge part of success. And that's what's gonna allow you to continuously, year over year, create a larger and larger gap between you and just the people that you grew up in the same town as. Because most people stop developing some point after school, and then they just go through this motion day to day, and then they look up and 10 years goes by and they're not happy with their life, and they look at you and you're just still doing this. If I were you, man, I'd take a minute to be proud of yourself, and then I'd say, okay, where can I go get some more consciousness? Hey, just so you assholes know, when you're laughing and I'm trying to answer a question, it's distracting as fuck.
Read the question.
Wet beaver looking for wood. 10 great British
Is that what y'all are laughing at? Wet
Yeah.
beaver looking for wood? How fucking old are y'all?
No, it says
I got fucking kids over here. I feel like we're showing the culture of the company today.